you. Perfect. So I won't need to do anything. Oh, perfect.
Do you know that your stand
Camera should be on.
Yes, right here.
Yeah, see how it went live.
Perfect.
Well, if,
I mean, I can see, but I
yeah,
couldn't
I
have.
mean, I can move it back a little bit, but I didn't set it up. So no matter.
Facebook.
I was wondering why you moved. Who said this? I need some help. I need to answer glasses. You're wearing I can see. I see better than
Aaron?
We were good, huh? It's ready to work there. So the gate has a picture of the gate. It's just right. There's a gate on the gate, and there was gonna be a building. So it's just a gate. It's like the scene sees the gate.
What?
No garage. No winter. Yeah. Yeah.
Better?
Yeah. Should I just watch and see if she hurts all?
Yes.
I don't know, I just texted her where it was. So.
The audio's really hot. Close by. See what it
I do, I've sent it, so.
Yeah, I have that list.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if there's.
We'll go first. That way, you just get you hang
Okay.
that way, if I don't cover it, then so the only clue you're gonna have.
Yeah, nice.
It makes sense to a point.
So, yeah, that's
Perfect.
All right, we are live. Folks, welcome to the Bristol Edition's first candidate forum for the Bristol and City Council and the Bristol mayoral races. Prior to this debate, we did invite all the candidates to participate. Unfortunately, the members of the Republican Party opted not to participate, so they are not here tonight. That said, doesn't mean there aren't issues that we discussed, and I think the questions that we prepared prior to tonight are an opportunity for the candidates who are here to speak about their ideas. I think the important thing is because the opposition is not here, let's focus on what you guys are going to do rather than what the other side did wrong or why they don't deserve. Let's talk, be positive, think about the old movies with boxers, and I'm the ref, go out there and have a clean fight. Talk about the issues. Bristol residents deserve to know what you're going to do. Lots of issues that are, happening in the city, and, there's ideas out there on how to improve what we've got. So we are going to begin talking a little bit about the rules. Each candidate is going to, on the council side, will have a 1.5 minute opening, and then they're going to have the opportunity for each question to be asked, 1.5 minutes each. And then originally we were thinking 4 questions. With time allows, we'll probably ask a few more to allow the candidates to have an additional opportunity to speak on the issues. And then there will be a 1.5 minute closing. The mayor race is a 2-minute opening. The candidate will receive 8 questions, 1.5 minutes each, and a 2-minute closing. Because we don't have the opponent here, there's no need for any rebuttal. So let's begin. Our candidates we have here from District 1, we have Dwayne Nguyen, who is running for the first time in the 1st District, and we have Gregory Hahn, who served 2 terms on the City Council from 2017 to 2021. Make your opening statements and listen for the bell when your time is up.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dwayne K. Nguyen Jr., and I'm running for City Council in District 1 because I believe in Bristol's future, and I believe that it starts at home. I have a master's degree in economics from CCSU, and I've helped, plenty of businesses in the realm of financing, accounting, and also in the nonprofit sector. I've spent my career turning blueprints into neighborhoods, helping families through Habitat for Humanity of Eastern Connecticut, which is my current job, find not just homes, but stability, confidence, and opportunity. And what I've learned is simple. When people can afford to live in a city they love, everything else works better. Schools perform stronger, businesses hire locally, and our economy grows from the ground up. I'm not running to cut, I'm running to connect. To connect the city's government with community partners, nonprofits, and businesses so every dollar we spend goes further. To make sure our young people can afford to stay here, our seniors can afford to age here, and every family has a fair shot at building a life here. Because when we invest in Bristol and the people and the place together, we don't just fix the problem, we build a stronger Bristol. Thank you.
I'm Greg Hahn. I was on city council for 4 years with Ellen in a very, very talented city council. And I'm proud of my time for those 4 years. I was on Public Works, Real Estate Committee, Energy Commission, Commission on Aging, Arts and Culture Commission, and more. But the fact of the matter was I was extremely involved. It wasn't just the committees I served, it was the people I met. It was the extra work that went into being a city councilman. It's not just the meetings. You may know me more by my experience with the Bristol Brass and Wind Ensemble. I'm a musician. I play weekends. I play in concerts throughout Bristol and other areas of Connecticut. I was actually president of the Bristol Brass and Wind Ensemble for 10 years. Presently, I work for Cigna. I'm a Treasury IT program manager, and that keeps me very busy as well. But running again, I've been asked many times, why am I running again? And it has to be because of the way the current city government is affecting me personally. We all think of things personally. How is it affecting me? Well, this is how things have affected me.
There we go.
Was that for him? Running. This is how it's affecting me. I have another tax payment, another mortgage payment and taxes. The education system, is affected. The pre-K, and I have a grandson,
The bell was your time.
so what's it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Hi.
I'll try to be gentle with the reminders at the time, but we'll try to keep everybody fair. For this campaign, many of you have been knocking on doors of the voters of Bristol. I mean, what have you learned this time around that has surprised you?
What has surprised me is taxes and affordability. When we talk about taxes, we really need to understand that families feel like they are squeezing every dollar that they have from rising housing costs. If we expand the number of affordable homes and attract more businesses, we could broaden our tax base so the same group of homeowners isn't carrying the load. I'll explore programs that freeze taxes for seniors for long-term homeowners and gentrifying areas while investing in new development that brings additional revenue without pushing families out. And what I mean by this is partnership. So I work for Habitat for Humanity of Eastern Connecticut, and we utilize all our resources in order to bring affordable home ownership into towns. And what that means is reaching out to local banks, reaching out to like-minded organizations, and just having a conversation with them. For an example, hey, we had 7 parcels. What can we do with this? Can we figure out how many people or individuals in a certain AMI in a certain AMI, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm gonna close on that. I appreciate it.
So, Mr. Hahn?
Yeah, a few things have come up, and of course, I'm walking in District 1, so a few things in District 1 have come up. One of the things is road expansion. There are some roads in the district that are dangerous to walk, and it's dangerous for the people that live there. And they're talking about road expansion or putting in sidewalks. That's one thing. Another thing is Kern Park. That came up recently where people are concerned about the homeless that are camping out in Kern Park and causing a safety concern. That's an issue. And then finally, the other issue that surprised me, which people do recognize, is the fact that Edgewood School has not been functioning as a pre-K for a while because of OSHA's involvement in the issue with the ceiling. So this issue was funded by us to be corrected before we left office, but for some reason the funds weren't used for that. And things like that concern me, and that's what's concerning the people that I'm talking to.
Okay, the council, mayor, board, finance worked jointly on the budget adoption. As a council person, what would you bring to that discussion? We'll begin with Mr. Hahn first.
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. The council, mayor, and board of finance worked jointly on the budget adoption. As a council person, what would you bring to that discussion?
Well, there are, what we've done in the past, from the 4 years that I worked there, we would always go to the finance committee's budget discussions in the audience to listen to make sure that we knew what was coming up. If I were on the board of finance, I would take a really strong look at where the money is going. We have a $35 million increase in our budget over the last 4 years, and yet we don't have an increased services for the town. It seems like things, if you're pumping that much money in, you should be getting something in response. Now, I know there are some extenuating circumstances in some areas, but $35 million is a lot of money. I would want to make sure that if we were increasing the budget, that the services provided were better or more services were provided to the taxpayers. They're owed that when we increase taxes.
Mr. Wade?
Oh, I do apologize about that. I froze up earlier because I'm a little nervous. But when people hear we work in the budget, they often think, that means cutting services. I see it a little bit differently. It's about being smarter with what we have and expanding our impact through partnership. I learned how to turn limited resources into major results by working with bank, state agencies, and also volunteers. I'll bring that same approach to City Hall, partnering with nonprofits, local businesses, and state programs to deliver more services, not fewer. When we align our city goals with community partners, we can stretch every tax dollar, improving outcomes and actually expand what residents receive without raising costs. That way, instead of cutting vital services, we can multiply our impact and bring in outside resources to help fund the city's priorities without raising taxes.
Okay, next question, and we'll begin with Mr. Wynn on this one, is, how do you balance the needs of business and the needs of your constituents in general when you would be sitting on the city council?
Can you say that one more time?
Sure. How would you balance the needs of business and the needs of constituents?
What I believe is like you have to get out in the public, get out to these businesses. You have to talk to everyone, boots on the ground, going to coffee shops, going to mom and pop shops, and just seeing what their needs are, how their needs could be met, but then also promoting these forums to get the public into the room and express their needs and what the city of Bristol needs to do. So, just expanding our outreach, letting people know when things like this happen, as far as these forums, and then working with the councilman and mayor to, help solve those problems.
Mr. Hunt, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I'm good. I don't think one excludes the other. I think one feeds the other and supports the other. If you're supporting business in the city of Bristol, you're supporting the tax base, you're supporting the quality of life that we have here in Bristol. The more restaurants, the more opportunities we have, the more we have for our children, the more we have overall. Is those kinds of businesses flourish here in Bristol, then we have a quality of life. So I don't think that business ever would take away from what we offer our community and our citizens. And the feeling is mutual. When businesses, good businesses open up, they are frequented by our citizens as well as from the area, Terryville, Thomaston, Arlington, come in. And that makes for a good economy, and we feed off each other.
Okay, and what distinguishes you from others in this race that you haven't mentioned in your opening statement? Give you an opportunity to kind of continue where you left off, Mr. Ahmad.
You said we can't mention the opposition, but I'm going to have to here. I mean, first of all, I come with experience. I've had 4 years on city council. We accomplished a lot. I'm proud of our accomplishments that we had during those 4 years without raising taxes 27%. Let's be honest here. And I was fully involved. It wasn't just the meetings, it was getting together with the community and community organizations. We collectively, with the city council, we created the opioid task force, diversity council. We created things. We weren't just putting our fingers in the dike, hoping that more things don't break, which seems to be what is happening now. So my opponents don't have the experience in creating, don't have experience in solving problems. They're trying to keep their head above water. And that would be the difference between us and my opposition.
Mr. Wynn.
I'm community oriented, and I also have experience in accounting and financing, working with organizations like Habitat for Humanity and Mohegan Sun, with various budgets from $5 million to $50 million. So I have experience there. But I also have experience in the housing market. I'm the director of home ownership and programs for Habitat for Humanity. So I'm able to bring affordable housing to Bristol, as well as bring in education of how to be a homeowner and how to stay in your home to Bristol.
And then final question we've got here, then we can allow you to do your wrap up. If you were a voter considering candidates for city council, what would you tell them to be looked for from their candidates? I know you're voters, but as a voter, what would you tell your fellow voters to look for in a candidate?
I'm going first. Yeah. Okay. What I would tell everyone is just to do your research. It's not about Democrat or Republican, it's about the person. So do your research on the individuals or individuals who are running. Make sure you understand what they stand for and what they can provide to the city of Bristol, and then therefore you can make an educated guess there. So that's what I would do and highlight is just do your research.
Good question.
Don't vote for me because I'm Democrat. Don't vote for others because they're Republican. That's a very lazy way to use your vote. I suggest to all of you that are voting, you take a look at the issues, take a look at our track record. Our track record is out for everybody to see. And what we accomplished, I'll talk more in my closing statement, what we accomplished far exceeds what's happened over the last 4 years. It's very simple. Vote your issues. If you like 27% increase in taxes, vote for Jeff. If you have a problem with adding a mortgage payment in taxes every 3 years, then I would advise you to think about making a change.
Okay, now for the 1.5-minute closing statement, Mr. Hahn, you can begin.
We've had a tremendous amount of success, like I said, with a talented group of Republican and Democrat people that served on city council while I was in office. We planned the downtown development, let's be honest. We put in the road, we put in the sewers, we put in the electricity, we designed downtown. And after that was done, during Ellen's administration, all but one of the lots were sold to contractors. We approved the look and feel, and we approved what the purpose of those buildings would be. All of that was done under us. One lot remained. That one lot is still not sold after 4 years. He's thinking about putting an RFP out for it in a couple weeks. That's not leading. That's not what we need here in Bristol. We need to go back and get the results and the action that we had with the city council and Mayor Ellen Zapo-Sassu. Listen, we're not party driven. Vote for the issues, vote for what has proven to be successful. It's not a Democratic Republican issue, and there are a lot of Republicans I meet with that are voting for us. And I suggest that everyone please take a look at the issues and go from there. I am very much looking to be on city council once again and serving you.
Mr. Witten, wrap up.
I know I'm new, but at the end of the day, leadership is about priorities, and mine are clear. Affordability, opportunity, and community. I've seen firsthand what happens when we invest in housing and people. We strengthen our very foundation of our city. My goal isn't to make empty promises, it's to bring people together, city leaders, organizations, and residents, to build a smarter, fairer system that actually works. We can grow Bristol without pushing families out. We can create opportunity without leaving anyone behind. And we can create our city of Bristol to be a place where working families and young adults and seniors all feel like they belong. That's the Bristol I believe in, one built on stability, partnership, and purpose. I'm Dwayne K. Wynn Jr., and I'm running for City Council District 1. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to switch out to District 2 candidates if they can step up so we can get your mic up.
That's a great question. What's the party issue statement as to why they're not participating?
They did not.
Excuse me, what was the question? I said here. Hello? Hello? They're having a hard time hearing you back. Was just asked. Could you repeat that for me, please?
Which question?
I don't know, someone asked a question.
Oh, they just asked if they were, there was a public statement from Republicans. And we didn't get one. They were just not.
Okay, I wasn't looking.
Please do. Thank you very much. Hi.
I look over and she's like,
Okay.
I swear, I look over, I'm like,
You guys are.
Yes.
Right here? Yeah.
Yeah, the senior one.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, cool. Welcome back, folks, to the Bristol Additions Candidate Forum. Just as review, the members of the Republican Party are not here tonight. They opted not to participate in this event. Now we're going to move on to District 2, to the two candidates who are here. We have Peter Kelly, who served 2 terms on the City Council from 2017 to 2021 in District 2, and we have Jennifer Tagriello. She is the former chair of the Board of Education. This is the first time she is running for City Council. Both have a 1.5 minute opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Tagriello. I'm a lifelong Bristol resident. I've raised 2 beautiful children in our city, Natalie, who is studying nursing at St. Joe's, and Gavin, who is studying finance at Bryant University. I married my best friend and soulmate almost 2 years ago. He's also my campaign manager, and he'll tell me when I need to speak louder, so I'll help you all tonight. We have 4 French bulldogs, 3 of whom we rescued, and 2 of whom are terrorists. I am a pediatric dental hygienist by trade, and I have an undergraduate degree in workforce education and development from Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. I served 10 years on the Board of Education, with my last 4 years chairing the board. While managing the board, my goals were improving student outcomes, implementing budgets that would maximize growth in the district while minimizing the increase to taxpayers, and fostering relationships between teachers, administrators, parents, and partnering with city leaders. Under my leadership, the Board of Education never ran a deficit. Schools not only survived, but thrived after the COVID pandemic, with student growth surpassing all of our contiguous towns. I've built and maintained relationships with a plethora of school administrators, many teachers, and our unions. After a decade of public service, it has been ingrained in me that positive outcomes are the result of collaboration and communication, as well as cooperation. The main reason I'm seeking a seat on City Council is to bring that spirit to City Hall.
Mr. Kelly.
Good evening. My name is Peter Kelly, and I served, as Mike mentioned, 2 terms previously on the City Council. I'm a native of Waterbury, but I've lived and worked in Bristol for over 45 years. The first 26 years of my professional life was at the Crowley Auto Group, and the last 14 was at First Bristol Federal Credit Union, where I was the business development officer. I retired on February 28th of this year, so I have the time to serve. I found the time when I was working, but if I was fortunate enough to be elected again, I certainly have the time now. And I really enjoyed my time serving under Mayor Ellen Zappo-Sassu. She's a great leader. There's not a question that she can't answer, and was a great mentor. And as Mr. Hahn mentioned, we accomplished a lot. So I'm looking forward to serving for that reason. There's much to be done. There's a bit to be repaired. There's a grand list to be grown, and there are taxes to be held in check. So I'm hopeful to gain the city council seat again and get back to work. Thank you.
So as candidates, making the assumption that you had the opportunity to knock a few doors, as you've met with the voters of Bristol, I mean, what have you learned that has surprised? Mr. Kelly first.
Well, what I've learned mainly is, regardless of party affiliation, people are floored at how high taxes have gone up, and the inability of the present administration to control taxes, in spite of the fact that he's on film with a bullhorn speaking of controlling spending and taxes will follow. Taxes have not followed. Taxes have skyrocketed. So Jeff has a sales background. In politics, you're held accountable for what you're selling. And in this case, perhaps it's just lack of knowledge, perhaps it's overselling, but people are shocked, regardless of political affiliation, with how much taxes have risen and the inability of a seemingly intelligent person to keep his word and keep taxes in check.
I can echo the sentiments of all of my colleagues about taxes, but one thing I will bring up when I talk about my past experiences is people are very shocked and saddened by the contentious relationship between our current mayor and the Board of Education, and just how evident and apparent it is, not only to people who are in the game that attend meetings, but by teachers and paras who overhear conversations, by parents who ask questions because their kids come home and make comments about things that they've heard. It's very unsettling, and it's something that I definitely want to change when I'm elected.
Okay, the council, mayor, and board of finance work on budget adoption. As a counselor, what would you bring to that discussion, Jennifer?
That's a good question, thank you. I think that, not to beat on the same drum, but I will play to my strengths. Having the knowledge base of the Board of Education, its expansive needs and its chronic underfunding, it will give me a unique perspective when contemplating the budget and contemplating where to cut and where to raise taxes to find a way to leverage our resources to make it so that it's less impactful to our taxpayers, but also so that the students and the teachers can get everything that they deserve.
Okay, Mr. Kelly.
The Board of Finance has many keen financial minds with a lot of experience with budgets and finance in general, but they can only deal with the hand that they're dealt. And if the money is not in the coffers, the money is not manufactured. So it really comes down to raising the grand list, keeping taxes in check, and keeping money in the coffers. There's no magic to it. If you raise the grand list and we have money, these decisions are easier. if the money's not there, you have to cut. And there's no financial wizard that is going to create a solution to the grand list not rising, which it rose a bit, but it was a paltry amount and not enough to keep us out of the current fiscal situation we find ourselves. The key is raise the grand list, grow it, and good things will follow financially from that.
So kind of following on that, I mean, how do you balance the needs of business and the needs of constituents in general?
Well, they're interrelated. You have to, as Dee Wayne mentioned, you have to listen. You have to put yourself out there. And speaking of businesses, it has to be, it's just not the new kid on the block. We have to pay attention to already established businesses, because the new shiny object sometimes people tend to gravitate to. But we can't lose sight of the fact that there are established businesses here that have been paying taxes for years, serving our citizens. So it's got to be across the board. But once again, it's visiting businesses. We used to, the former administration under Ellen Zapusasu, we ran the farmers market every single week. We would alternate who was going to work it. Most of us just went every week anyways. And you talk to people. They voice their concerns to you one-on-one. And then that gives you an idea of where the needs are. A lot of the work of being on the city council is nuts and bolts stuff. It's delivering food during the pandemic to people that don't have transportation. You know, it's really elbow grease, and it's really hard work. Not everything is an elevated decision. So you just have to work hard.
There you go. Hey, yeah.
So one thing that I would say is that it's important as city leaders to bring stakeholders together, assessing needs of businesses that have been here a long time, as well as up and coming and newly rising businesses. We want to make sure that all of our businesses align with the city priorities, and I think the only way to do so is, again, by communication and collaboration.
What's that? Now, what distinguishes you from others in this race that you might not have mentioned in your opening statement?
Well, I'm here. I could take my time and have some fun with that, but I'm going to honor Mr. Chaikin's request, and instead I'm just going to focus on the fact that I do pride myself in being able to collaborate with just about anyone. And I think that it is important that when you are in any role in city leadership, in city governance, that you can put partisan politics aside and that you can focus on people. Because at the end of the day, I am not here to represent only Democrats. I am not here to only represent Republicans. I am here to represent everyone who resides in District 2. Because everybody working together is what's going to make our community thrive.
Mr. Kelly?
I'm going to ride Jen's coattails a bit on her comment, because we had a discussion about this prior, and it's very important to be as nonpartisan as you can be and put people over politics, because we owe the citizens of Bristol, regardless of their political affiliation, to work for them, not work for our party. And I'll give you an example that Jen brought up today when we had that conversation. I was a liaison to the Board of Education when Jen was serving. And I think we worked very well if elected for that and other reasons. I called out my own party for things that they were doing, and they didn't like it, but it needed to be said. And these are very good, well-intentioned people, but they needed to be slapped around a little bit. And I was willing to do it. You've got to be willing to make hard decisions like that if it's going to benefit the citizens of Bristol.
Yeah, and for the final question, as voters, yourselves, what would you tell the other voters out there, what they should be looking for when they're considering city council candidates?
Me first?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what I would say is to echo Mr. Nguyen, obviously you want to do your research on each candidate. If there are topics that are of great importance to you, you want to make sure that your candidate of choice aligns with you on those. But most importantly, I would say talk to your candidates, ask them questions, and challenge them. Because I love nothing more than talking to people, and if I don't have an answer or I don't know something, it's going to grow me as a leader to find out the answer, to then give it back to that constituent. So I think just don't be shy, reach out and ask them how they feel about things, what they would do in this circumstance, how can they help you? And their answers can then dictate whether you choose to vote for them or not.
And now we can have a 1.5 minute closing comment.
Oh.
Do I get an answer?
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. I knew it was like,
You're probably a little nervous yourself.
no, just lost.
Right, no problem. Okay, I would tell voters to look for consistency, character, honesty, and also no conflict of interest, because you can sort of smell that when somebody is serving. It's hard to realize that if someone's just knocking on your door and you're talking to them for 2 or 3 minutes, but once you get a feeling for the way they handle themselves, it's easy to read people. So I think we as voters need, as D. Wayne once again suggested, dig a little deeper. Know who you're really dealing with. Is it somebody there that is trying to build their resume, or is it someone that has a true vocation for public service? Because unfortunately, the reality is not all candidates do. Believe it or not, I know that comes as a shock. But really, if we're more discerning in who's presenting themselves in front of us, you're more likely to make the right decision.
Okay, now you're 1.5 minutes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, I am excited for this opportunity. I didn't know I was going to be sitting up here as a candidate, but Ellen is pretty persuasive. So that's one of the reasons I'm here, but I'm also willing to lean into it because you really need to. It's not a passive job. It's a lot of work. And as I touched on earlier, it's not all glorified. There's a lot of things to do. You have to answer constituents. You have to get up early sometimes, take telephone calls late when you may want to be watching baseball or just relaxing. So it's really a commitment because you are a public servant. And public servants are supposed to serve the public and not serve themselves. So that's another barometer in making the decision is who you're going to vote for. Make sure it's someone that is well-intentioned and has no ulterior motives other than serving you.
Thank you. So now I can finish my opening sentences in closing. The main reason that I am seeking a seat on City Council in the 2nd District is to bring a spirit of collaboration back to City Hall, where it can grow and it can positively impact Bristol and all of its residents. I think it's very important that we as city leaders build relationships before conflicts can even begin. A city that is dubbed all heart has no room for negativity, and it has even less room for dissidents. Our residents, from the youngest learners at Edgewood, or wherever they're displaced this month, to those who call Sheridan Woods their home, they deserve the best. And it is my goal that when I am elected, that I will give you the best that you deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now
Well done.
Get our
I know, right?
3rd District candidates heading up here.
Yeah, we're taking a break. Tell Mike to tell him we got at least 5 minutes.
Got a list of questions, so, some of the questions.
I'm going to go to the bathroom. Tell Mike we have like 15
We got a 10-minute break.
Got you.
For this one? You can't. You can't forget this. Probably not very good.
She said that was so funny. She would call me after one.
Yeah. Oh,
There is, but I don't know what the password
It's just a bunch of buttons, really. 90 seconds, and then this. It's fun. So it's fun. For everyone. The wave is for everyone. We got 10 minutes to relax, a little napping even.
Yeah.
Check out the library.
And folks, are we being loud enough this time? Last time were we loud enough?
You guys can still talk, we got time.
Yeah, we're waiting for something to be rectified.
What happened?
Nothing. He might start talking, so people got quiet. So I said, y'all can still talk.
Good. Oh, good. All right, so on the tripod. That's good, and that's what makes a big difference.
I told them when we go to the whole shot,
Yep. Yep.
he's gonna come over here, show us side by side.
Who's gonna come?
With that camera. TBE
Yeah,
is gonna, whenever we're on the moderator,
yeah,
their camera's gonna move to empty.
okay.
So you get a shot of 360 throughout the
Oh,
If
so,
you want to sprinkle that in.
okay, so what do I need to do?
Just switch over to that camera.
Okay, so, yeah, all right, you got this one right now. So if I do moderator,
No, that's you. That's you.
right, do this right here, do this right here. And then there's another one. We can do the,
They're gonna move.
oh, they're gonna move. All right, so we have to coordinate that.
Correct. So I told him when he sees this,
Yeah,
go back. When he sees this online, he's gonna move his camera here.
okay.
Okay. And then when they start talking,
Oh, so that's that
back.
camera right there.
Yes.
Ah, I got it.
He switches
I
on
got
that.
it.
He's
Okay.
gonna switch it back.
Okay. You got it. You usually do this with all hand signals?
No, I used to have IFPs and I have working cameras. But for some reason that camera works.
Yeah. Oh. Did you have to charge the?
I'm gonna after this one.
So how many? What, 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Because we'll let Mike know. We're ready to go right now. So we're ready to go. Okay.
Make sure, but
Okay, folks, we want to settle down, get your seats, and we're ready to go. Folks, we're going to start. So if you want to get your seats and calm down, the candidates, their respect. We are now moving on to the third district. Just to kind of remind the audience is that the Republicans were invited to participate, but they opted not to. So we do have, from the Democrats, we have in the third district, we have Mark Dickow, who won a special election to gain a seat on the city council. And we have Stephen Seymour, who is running for the first time. Gentlemen, if you want to pick who wants to make their first opening statement. Okay,
All right.
1.5 minutes.
Okay, I'm Steve Seymour. I've been a Bristol resident for about 45 years or so. I live upon Federal Hill, so that's the third district. I have 5 beautiful kids. They're all successful. One's an engineer, lead engineer at Sikorsky. The other one is lead media person at UConn. And the other one's a roofer. He's successful also. I own multiple businesses in Bristol, so I do know how business does work. And the reason why I'm here today is because I see things in the city that I do like and I don't like. And I need to find out exactly being in what's in the inner circle and what people are thinking of in the inner circle and the needs of the Bristol residents and how to rectify it or goes together, basically.
Mr. Dickow.
Good evening, all. I'm the only current Democrat on the city council. I'm running for re-election, and over the past year, I've worked across the aisle with the Republicans, or at least tried to. Because most of the times, whenever I say something, it's usually knocked down right at the start. I've also have been working over the past year on hiring a new HR director for the city, red light traffic cameras, a couple of other things. Those were more things that were turned down. The HR director was something that I was the only one that voted against because of some issues that happened over in previous jobs, and it shouldn't even been considered for the position. I've also worked with Ellen and Mary Fortier in regards to keeping the Sheridan Woods open. When I brought that up at a city council meeting, I was also told if I had 15 to 20 million extra dollars hanging around, I could save it myself. I just want to continue working for a better Bristol. I mean, I remember what Bristol was like. I'm a lifelong Bristol resident, grew up on Federal Hill, now live in Forestville. It's always been District 3 for me, and I just want to continue working for everybody in this room and all of Bristol.
And we're friends.
Yeah, we know each other.
Okay, first question is you as, candidates, you obviously have been knocking on the doors in the district. I mean, what have you learned from the voters in the third district that surprised you?
Knocking doors this year, even in comparison to last year or 2 years ago, people really want to talk. They're very interested in what's going on in the city of Bristol. They're asking questions like everybody else has been saying about taxes, about public safety. I mean, in District 3, we have a lot of public safety issues at traffic lights. At the corner of Pine Street and Middle Street and Lake Avenue, and also at Emmett Street and Pine Street. Those are 3 extremely dangerous intersections. As a matter of fact, last week I was talking to somebody that said that their daughter got hit on Central Street and Pine Street. She had the walk signal, was walking across the road, and somebody went through a red light, and she ended up on the hood of the car.
Oh,
So safety has been a big thing. That's why I was looking at the red light cameras. It was actually brought to the ordinance committee from the chief of police, Mark Morello, and we had some additional questions about it. So we sent it back to the police commission, and they said, no, we're not doing that. It's going to cost too much for the city. But if you look at Washington Depot, who has pretty much one traffic light in the city, they reported over $650,000 worth of earnings in 8 months. That is something that we could do here in this city.
Mr. Seymour? Sure, as a candidate, you've been knocking on the doors, you've had the opportunity to meet with the voters in your district. What have you learned that surprised you?
What I've learned is that a lot of people were affected by the federal government, and which is, it's leaking down to the local government. They're saying that they're going to vote for the opposition. Obviously, that would be us, just because of the federal part. But I also said, what in particular do you like and don't you like about Bristol? Because that's where it starts. You are immediately affected by Bristol. And their concerns was a safety thing, like with the red light thing like that. But my concern is just driving down the road, I see a lot of things that could be simply fixed. Like, I'm sure you guys went up, what's that street? Not Center Street, but Woodland or Maple or whatever. There's a big red sign that says, we won't say the person hasn't fixed this. I personally have talked to Ellen. I said, is this something that the city could do? And she goes, absolutely. I said, well, I'm going to knock on his door today and tell him that that's one of my priorities. My parents, their driveway is considered a road, but it's the only house on there, and the city hasn't taken care of it. It's gravel, they're in their 70s. They have to drive through these ditches and stuff like that. So I see safety for seniors that need to be addressed. There's seniors are having problems getting transportation to get their medical. I got more to say.
Oh, we're going to begin with the next question. With you, the council, mayor, and board of finance work on the budget adoption. As a counselor, what would you bring to that discussion?
Okay. First of all, I would go to see all the municipalities and see and talk to them what can be streamlined or what their problems are, because that's a part of, running the city. As far as that goes, you have to find out, when you talk to the workers, the way I see it, if there's problems that can be easily fixed or streamlined, you have to listen to the workers because it makes their job more efficient and therefore allows them to perform better. And when you perform better, they get things done quicker and easier without, cutting through all this red tape. So if you streamline that part of it, that helps a lot. And also trying to bring in, smaller businesses, which bring in more money.
Mr. Dickon?
Well, the biggest thing to help out with the budget would be economic development. I've had a lot of people actually come up to me this year and say, you know what? What's going on down in Forestville? Besides now that there's going to be a new Luna's down there. There has been signs up down there for a Salvadorian bakery for probably at least 8 months to a year. And every time that we have an economic development meeting, I ask about that, and the answer I get is, oh, I don't know what's going on. And I said, how could you be in part of economic development and be at the head of the office and not know what's going on there? The last thing I heard about it was there's a language barrier. So if there's a language barrier, yes, we need to get some kind of translation issues into coming into the city. We need people there are people that speak other languages within the city that can help you out and have to negotiate with these people. We also just lost the owner's Michael's group for a sessions building. That was another thing. That was wasted of almost 3 years of time that they were working on that. Now they have to go through, or we have to go through the whole RFP all over again. But we need to actually, our biggest thing is economic development within the city. We definitely have to grow the campus.
Now, you got it right on time. How do you balance the needs of business and the needs of constituents in general? Mr. Bickau, we'll begin with you first.
For the needs of constituents with businesses, I mean, you really need to know what people really would like to have. I mean, that's one of the things I talked to people in past years, not as much this year, because like I said, there's different issues that people are bringing up. But with businesses, there are small business loans through the city, through economic development, that these groups can have as long as they have the financial backing that they can use these loans. I mean, they only have to pay back half of the loan. And it's actually, right now, it's a 10-year loan, and we were actually in the process of actually working on that to cut it down to 5 years. So these loans would be paid back quicker, so we can actually get the money back into the funds earlier.
Mr. Seymour, how do you balance the needs of business and the needs of constituents in general?
Okay, the needs of businesses, well, I own multiple businesses in Bristol, and I wish I knew, there's certain things that even he told me about, grants and stuff like that, that would help my business, which I didn't know about. I think we need to make it more accessible to these businesses, and don't let them try to figure it out for themselves. Help them out, give them something else to say. You have to go to this person and talk to this person, and find out, even with the existing small businesses, keep supporting them as far as, and try to get new businesses in here, because there's a lot of buildings that could be, transformed and have small businesses put in them. So, I mean, I would suggest campaigning to get more small business, not just big business. I know they bring in a lot of tax dollars, whatever. But I love Bristol because it has that small town feel, okay? I don't want to lose that small town feel. I don't want to see huge buildings going up everywhere. I like to see repurposing of old buildings if they can be repurposed. Giving everyone a chance. I want people to push towards, someone who wants to start a small business gets intimidated by the things that they have to go through. They need guidance, basically. I have a business podcast, and I help people start businesses. So I know how that works. And I wish I knew, like I said, that there were grants that were available.
So, next question, we're going to read with you, Mr. Seymour. I mean, what distinguishes you from others in this race that you might not have had an opportunity to mention in your opening statement? What distinguishes you?
Well, what distinguishes me is like if I see something bad happening, I don't care what party you're in, just like Peter Kelly said, vote for the person, look at my background, you'll see that I own 2 successful businesses. I'm always contributing to the Monk Festival Police Department. I'm there for them. Basically, that's it, basically.
Mr. Bickau?
I just want to get back to my city. That's the biggest thing. Like I said, I'm 55 years old. I want to continue living here the rest of my life. I mean, my wife and I plan on spending the rest of our lives in our house. We've been there for 22 years, and we just want to continue there. We raised our family there. It's just, Bristol it's in a good direction from 4 years ago, but continuing right now, it's not the same Bristol it was 4 years ago. The growth has been happening over the 4 years, the previous 4 years, because of the previous administration, not the current administration, because the I mean, if you look at the amounts of grand list growth over the past 4 years and the previous 4 years, there's a very large difference in the amount that was brought to the city.
You know, as a voter, talking to the other voters, considering candidates for city council, what would you tell them to look for?
I tell them to look for somebody that's dependable. I mean, I have people call me all the time about different things. It's like I had one person actually tell me, it's like, hey, I have this branch that's been across the street from my house for 2 years now. The lady next door who has Alzheimer's actually went out and cut it and put it to the side of the road, and I called Public Works and never got it done. Well, Monday I went and picked it up myself. I got to a point where it's like, I mean, if you've been dealing with this for 2 years, forget about it. And I had somebody else call me a couple of weeks ago about overgrown bushes on Center Street. Actually, when Peter was saying about you take calls at any day or night or whenever, I was on the phone with a constituent after I was elected last year for an hour while on vacation in St. Thomas. So it's I take the calls. I mean, if my phone rings, I'll answer it, no matter where it is. I mean, it's not the whole thing like everybody else is saying. It's not a D, it's not an R. I'm a B. I'm a Bristol resident. I'm here for Bristol and not for one side or the other.
Mr. Seymour?
Yeah, same here. I'm for Bristol. I have people on both sides of the party that want me to do this. So that tells me, obviously, I must have some good ideas. But yeah, I would like to see Bristol stay the way it is. Well, not the way it is right now, but stay the same. Wrong answer. But all I'm saying is basically do your homework, find out the background of your candidates. If you like what you see, then vote for that person. But also, I feel that we have to be more accessible to the candidates, and the candidates in return have to respond to whoever's asking the question or the favor or what do I do? We need to direct them in the right way instead of just saying, handing off to the boss, you know, go to this person, go see that person. Directly try to take care of the situation yourself. And that's why you're getting elected in the first place, is to communicate with the people of Bristol. Try to make it a town where everybody loves. We want people to come to Bristol because of the feel of it. The education of it is a huge thing. My wife has been a teacher for 35 years, and she comes home and that's all I hear. What's going on? You know, how is it being run? So I know what problems that like the teachers and stuff like are having. So and me being a business owner, so I got all kinds of things going on.
Well, now we were going to enter a 1.5 minute closing statement. So we'll leave off with you, Mr. Seymour.
Okay, if you vote for me, I will do my best. What?
Oh, no, never mind that. I thought you were asking a whole.
Oh, no. If you vote for me, I will do my best. I am very accessible, and I will listen to your problems or whatever. If you need information, I will do my very best to take care of it. And this is the reason why I'm running this, because I want it to be very accessible to everybody. Like I said, I'm proud of my town. I always want to be part of my town. I don't care who you are, what party you're affiliated with. I just want us to be, all together. It's our town. We want to take care of it. So why can't we work together?
Mr. Pigot?
Like I said, over the last year plus a few months, I've been on city council working for the people of Bristol. I want to continue doing that. I don't feel like I've done any type of a bad job. I mean, I'm not the one that's going to sit there and be like, every time a vote comes up and be like, yes, 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 whatever you say, Mayor. I'm not that type of person. I'm a thinker for myself. If I am elected, I'm hoping that there are additional Democrats, because I am currently on 8 boards and committees because I am the only Democrat on city council. I do want to set up meet and greets or meet your neighbors, either here at Bristol Library or in Forestville at Man Ross Library. Actually, possibly do them quarterly and switch them back and forth.
Thank you very much.
Mike, we're gonna take a 10-minute break.
Yeah, we're gonna take a 10-minute break, folks.
Oh, wait, how you been? Good, good,
How's everything?
excellent. You've been a busy person, huh?
Huh?
You've been busy, huh?
Yeah,
Good.
been volunteering a lot in a lot of different capacities.
Yeah. So what's the situation with the school? I got, so you're gonna set up the guard where?
Mountain View School. I just went today.
All right, you went today?
Yeah.
All right, so now you sent me
So
the
now
pictures?
we're at Eastern and Mountain View.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Yes, it's muted.
I don't know if it's appropriate or not. Considered she was statement about it.
Who's up next?
To be clear, I'll be promoting every single event we have because we want to drive attention to them.
We're part of the Candidate Forum happening tonight. Yes, we have that. Wrongfully, both political parties will attend. Well, they were both invited. Prior commitment said, this is just, I don't know, do we, I don't know if we even give that any kind of like. Real folks only happen with both sides of the company table. Wow. I'll show Mike.
Oh, no, I actually have done. Now I'm the secretary. And now it's got staff. In the writers' room, we were there. In like the winter of 2018, yes. I didn't know if I was on council. I think it was like 2018. Yeah, want to give it all a while. This one doesn't look like it's open.
11 and 3 likes. And 9 comments. Like, you can go there. I know.
Mics are live. Are we ready to roll? All right, welcome back. Thanks for your patience while we rectified a couple of technical issues on our live stream. We are now moving on into the mayoral section of our forum, and we have, again, the Republicans have not joined us here tonight. Apparently it put out a statement that they had some other obligations that they needed to attend to. But we do have our Democratic candidate, Ellen Zaposasu. She is the former mayor of Bristol, serving 2 terms from 2017 to 2021. She was also a city council member serving 3 terms. She is going to make a 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. I'm going to use a portion of my opening statement to introduce the rest of our ticket that is also here tonight. In addition to the mayor and the city council that you'll be voting for this fall, we also have a race for city council. So I'd like to introduce John Lodovico, who is our candidate. John, if you could stand up. A race for the Board of Education, which hopefully we'll be talking about later. And our 3 candidates that will be on the ballot for the Board of Education are here tonight as well. Incumbent Jill Fitzsimons-Bula and our candidates Tara Winter and And lastly, for those of you who are interested about the taxation issue, we are also electing the Board of Assessment Appeals. And tonight, I'd like to introduce you to our candidates, Anne Marie Herring, who's here. I also see that there are a lot of people in the room who are very passionate about certain issues that we've talked about over the course of the last 6 months, and I will try to weave in your issues into my answers as best as I can, knowing that these questions may not be what you're looking for. I'm approaching tonight as a job interview, asking all of you to hire me back in a position that I think I performed well in the previous time that I was here. I'd like to just briefly say that my management philosophy is that we were very successful for 4 years in leveraging scarce resources and making sure that every taxpayer dollar was accounted for and was paid for. We worked with key partners, we worked with employees, and we worked with citizens. And we knew that everybody wanted to take pride in where they lived, and we wanted to showcase Bristol's assets. We also knew that there were additional costs and demands upon the education budget, which were all just really positioned against the backdrop of reduced state and federal aid. So hopefully we'll be talking about these as we go forward.
Okay, well, you mentioned the taxes. I mean, after the last tax bill came out, there's a lot of discussion on social media, streets, about how people were paying more than they expected. It was a keystone of the Democrats' campaign. What can be done about cities' taxes, and how can you keep hikes in check in the future?
Well, for many homeowners, property taxes are a large burden because unlike your income tax, which is based on what you earn, property taxes are fixed on your property value and not your ability to pay. So these economics are forcing people to make hard choices. So we, as the Democratic ticket, looked at this, and in June, we submitted a Freedom of Information request, and I'm just looking for the number, for all pre- and post-revaluation property values from the tax assessor. We sorted residential and calculated taxes based on the mill rate. There were 19,382 records that we downloaded based on all of your tax records. 2,000 homes had a 40% or greater tax increase, and many thousands of homes were over 30% for their tax increase. Over these past 4 years, as Mayor Caggiano's median tax increase was 23.02%, while his average tax increase overall was 26.92. Mine was 3%. and my average was 2.9. So clearly it can be done. We both had a piece of COVID, we both had fluctuating economic issues, and we both had a revaluation. So I feel strongly that there is an apples to apples comparison. What has to happen though, in addition to watching your spending, you also have to control your costs. And in the city of Bristol, the biggest cost that we have is our personnel. And I will also say that they are also our greatest asset in delivering the services that we expect.
Okay, next question. If you feel the city's priorities need to change, how would you restructure the budget to reflect your priorities?
I don't think we need to restructure the budget. What we have to do is follow the budget. And what we have to do is work together with the departments for a plan that's already in place. And what I'm referencing is the 10-year capital improvement project budget. What we do, all departments come together and we talk about what our needs are. The operational budget is everything contractual, personnel costs, supplies, what you need to run your department. But the larger costs, anything over $100,000 goes on the capital improvement project budget list. Those are then prioritized based on needs. So it could be the HVAC system at the police department, it could be a new fire truck, it could be a roof repair, it could be a new school, renovate as new, the Northeast Middle School, it could be all of those things. But what happens within the process is they're evaluated and they're prioritized. What's been happening over the last 4 years is that this entire project list has been torn apart. For example, the Hopper and Spurge Pond project improvements have been on and off the capital improvement list for the last 4 years. They're on, they're off, they're not funded, they're withdrawn, they're not funded, they're moved out a year. That is just unfair to a project that the Parks Department has strategically planned in their overall strategic planning. The animal control facility. We are now building a $6 million animal control facility. And I can tell you that 4 years ago, that was nowhere on the plan. It is now totally sped through. Talk about needing a red light monitor. We need red lights on that project because it started, it is funded, it is out there. $6 million, not a priority.
The council, the mayor, the board of finance, and the board of education over the past year often have seemed like two different countries at war. What can the mayor, city council do to help improve communication and relationships between the two towns?
Well, the first thing you do when you start to have issues is you call together your war council group and you sit down and you figure out what the issues are. The first thing that should have happened was the minute the Board of Education realized they were running a deficit, there should have been a roundtable about what was happening and where it's going and what the causations are. But we know what they are because in February of 2025, the mayor, as he embarked upon his finger pointing campaign, commissioned an audit for the Board of Education because he was sure he was going to find whatever he was going to find. That audit came out, and on page 14, it clearly states that the reason that the Board of Education is running a deficit is not because it's overspending. It's because it was systemically underfunded for the last 4 years. They have not been given the money that they need to do their jobs. They have been given an average of about 5%. Most of that has been state mandated, when in fact, some of their cost escalations have been up to 20%. They also had additional mandates come down when the age of special education went to 22. The city disregarded that, and that was a $600,000 item. We can continue to put our heads in the sand, or we can sit down and constructively figure out what the Board of Education needs and how to get them the resources while balancing the needs of the other departments. But here's the thing, the spending issue is more a problem on the city side than it is on the Board of Ed side. I have the comprehensive financial reports that came out. The city has spent $18 million in additional money over the last 4 years. The Board of Ed isn't even close to that.
Assess the city's economic development over the past 2 years. What's been done right? What's been done wrong? What needs to be differently if you feel there's a need for change?
So there are some areas to criticize, and I think that I'm going to preface this with saying, again, that our city employees are some of the best in the region. However, they thrive on stable leadership, and when they don't receive that, things tend to go off the rails. We have a lack of council synergy. There's even problems within that group that they're not on the same page. I was appalled at having just lost the election and then having to watch the new council in one of their first votes rescind a project labor agreement that we had put together over a long period of time for the city hall renovation. which would have put 300 skilled tradespeople who live and work in Bristol to work at City Hall. They got rid of the project labor agreement. Then, the next council meeting, the purchase and sales agreement for Wheeler came up. We had been working with Serena Trophy for 9 months to fast track that project because she had federal funds to spend. And they rejected the purchase and sales agreement. Those are embarrassing milestones in economic development that other developers, contractors, and municipalities look at. And they swoop in to look for people who might want to leave or those who are thinking about Bristol. They're not going to come here. That type of volatility does not bode well for any economic development. Then there was the collapse of code enforcement. There's all kinds of issues there. Then there's apparently regulatory issues within the land use process where permitting is stalled. Time is money for developers, and when they can't get a project approved, that adds costs. Then there's the problem of the permit portal, which is another issue for developers and business people and residents.
The council and mayor have some control over quality of life issues in the city. What quality of life issues is the city handling well? And why do you say that? What quality of life issues has the city dropped the ball on, and how can that be improved upon?
So areas to improve. You know, there's some things that are just not complicated, but yet they've become complicated. The cannabis issue was very complicated at the end of the day with ordinances being created that weren't necessary. I will say that I think the one area that they did pretty well was continuing the plan that we put in place for the distribution of ARPA funds. We had a phenomenal task force representing all different aspects of our community. And we had 3 areas in order to allocate those funds. Nonprofits got a piece, the businesses got a piece, and then we used some money for our special projects. So that seemed to continue based on the strength of that task force, and that seems to be doing well. But I'm gonna go back to us being business unfriendly. When you have to wait 30 days to get a permit to do work on a renovation, or you call for an electrical permit or an insulation permit and you're told 10 days to 2 weeks, first off, you're gonna lose your electrician, you're gonna lose the people waiting. That is not how we do business. So I'm not sure what's happening there, but the complaints are often. And I worked with a few people over the course of the last 3 months who were really looking to get into the weeds on why they were being stalled so much. And we got them some answers, but it shouldn't have to be that hard. So retooling and making everything business friendly and customer friendly again, technology notwithstanding, it's all about the people. And if somebody's waiting 10 days, 20 days, or 30 days, that's unacceptable.
News stories, but they have reported that the city's fastest population segment are people in their 20s, early 30s. What needs to be done to address their needs to help keep them in Bristol?
I don't know what that is. I mean, is it accounting for my youngest who's moved back home? Okay, so he's a statistic. I'd love to get him into his own house, but I think a lot of people are seeing kids move back home because of the affordability issues. I'm not sure how many people are buying houses in this market in that age group. But I'm gonna pivot here because more important to me are the social services and the safety net that we're creating for our older citizens who do want to stay in their houses and want to live as independently as they can for as long as they can. So I think the pivot is, let's make sure that neighborhoods turn over at a rate that is normal. Because the more houses turn over at a frequent pace or all in one area, and that affects the school system. It affects how we provide services. People deserve to live independently. We need to provide the opportunities for them to do so. This tax issue is driving people out of their homes. And that is something that is going to affect all of our neighborhoods. It's going to affect classroom sizes. It's going to affect a lot of things unless we can get a handle on that. So welcome to the 22 to 30-year-olds. I love that. If I could see some raw data on it. I don't see it anecdotally, and I don't understand why we're focusing on one segment and building toward that when we have so many other pressing needs within the community at this time.
Now, as a candidate, I'm guessing you have had the opportunity to knock on a few doors amongst the constituents of the city. What have you learned by knocking on doors? What has surprised you?
I don't know if I'm surprised as much as I had the same experience as the Board of Education and City Council members, candidates are. People are asking a lot of questions. And I do think that the tax signs that people had in their yards did a a good deed. People are asking questions now about what things cost. They're asking questions about why they're getting notified for the first time in 4 years by their banks about their escrow accounts. They're wondering why they're seeing businesses promised, but businesses not coming. They're wondering why the only projects that have come through the Grand List portal in the last 4 years are the ones that my administration started, but they're being taken credit by people who simply got served the mail hot and are enjoying the work that we did to print the mail. They're asking about the other parts of our town. Why isn't there economic development focus in the West End? What about Forestville? They're asking about the education budget. They're asking why we're constantly selling one of our best resources, which is our remaining open space, to developers. They're asking why, in fact, we have changing priorities. Why are we putting other projects ahead of others and not this one? And I think that there's an unease in terms of stability and why things are just so raucous. I mean, we have been subjected to AI videos that are absolutely ridiculous. And I encourage you to not look at them, although I know Shelby Pons thinks her profile is really hot. I don't like mine, I don't watch them, I won't look at that. But it's just so juvenile that I'm not sure where the public discourse is going, and that needs to come back as well.
So we don't necessarily have a crystal ball to foresee the future, but make an attempt to forecast how the next 2 years are significant for Bristol.
Well, they're significant for several reasons, and I'm going to start with a little bit of a warning. We have another revaluation scheduled for 2027. Some of you may have seen the notices, the assessor's office is out, they're looking at properties, they're doing inspections. But what I'm worried about is what are we doing from a financial standpoint to manage the roll-up to 2027? What if the housing market, the bottom falls out? What if you're stuck with a house that's valued up here that you're paying taxes on, but actually there's a depreciation due to market trends? What if the federal government continues to leverage resources and not send money to the states? What if we have to continue to create social safety nets for issues such as homelessness or social isolationism amongst our senior citizens, or competing projects that might have been started but now may not get finished? What if we don't have someone in charge who actually understands what a debt ratio is versus spending priorities? These are all important questions, and I've always said through my time on the council and as mayor that it's really important to have the right people in the right seats on the bus. And for the most part at City Hall, we do. There's just no driver, and the bus is heading toward them.
Putting yourself in the shoes of the voter, what would you tell them to keep an eye out for when they're making their choice for mayor?
I think that public service is really a theme. It's not about politics. It's not about selling you a line. It's not about making you believe one party over the other. It's about the people who go pick up a branch because they're sick of having a neighbor complain about it. They're the people who were, during COVID, handing out food in the food lines, who helped every Saturday morning set up the farmer's market because we had a food desert in downtown, and people were yearning for an opportunity to get out. Managing COVID, which seems so far away for all of us because we just don't want to think about it, was one of the most difficult things I've ever done. You get lists every day of people who have died in your town, and you knew that. I can't even say how impressed I was with our team and what they did, because we were doing renter's rebate, we were still handing out food, we were fixing things, we had people come to City Hall every day to do their jobs. But yeah, it was such a scary time. And I think you have to look past the people who do it for the wrong reasons and look to the people who do it for the right reasons.
And that is our question. Do you have a 2-minute wrap up?
There's so much to talk about. I'm really proud of the work that our team did. And when I say our team, I mean everybody from the city employees to our department heads, to our council, to Representative Poirier, who left her job when her courthouse closed out and came and helped us run COVID operations. I'm proud of our Arts and Culture Committee, who was created in the thought process of helping the Memorial Boulevard become that community theater and that beacon for downtown activities, which I think that it is. I'm so proud of the Carrier Project, which is bringing not only on Main Street across from here, but downtown, over 150 units of new housing for people to live here. I'm so proud of Wheeler that we brought in because now we have people working here. And that's the balance. The balance of Bristol is going to be on the backs of people who live here and who work here and who then spend their money here. So what you're seeing now with Ventana's, with the Iron Horse, with the salad place, with 10 Main, this is economic spillover effect, which we planned for because we knew that those businesses would be successful if they had bodies in downtown. Now, I can't talk to the failure at the Sessions Building. That is a hard project. There's environmental remediation, and we got a great grant for that. That's coming, and I think that that might be more affordable housing. But I look through town and I see money being spent on like road widening projects on Shrub Road, which should have just been a sidewalk project. And I see all of these other issues that are just coming.
Library will close in 15 minutes.
I hope I'm getting time on this.
I'll give you an extra 10 seconds.
Okay, so, you know, it's prioritization, it's managing the budget, it's looking at your bottom line, but also planning your projects. It's understanding that there's this big picture, but at the end of that picture is a whole line of 60,000 people who all may want something different from Bristol, but at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to deliver as much as we can to the best of our ability in a financially responsible way. And that's for Edgewood pre-K learners, and it's for the, I don't understand why, but the 95-year-old women who open their door when we knock. Don't open your door if you're 95 years old and you don't it makes me crazy. But from them to them, we have to do something for everybody because that's what community is. And that's what it is at the end of the day, how we make decisions, how we prioritize, how we attach fiscal dollars. It's all about how those dollars are going to affect every single person. Not just some, not just those people, or not people who look like me or talk like me. It's every single person.
That's your time. Thank you so much. I appreciate the respect you afforded to all the candidates. I appreciate the respect you afforded the forum itself. We see this as an initial step for the Bristol edition. You know, hopefully the candidates who did not show will see that we treated everybody with respect and positivity, and it would have been beneficial for them to be here. I want to make sure this was not an ambush for any candidates. Hopefully every candidate feels that they were treated fairly and with respect. So, thank you very much.